Hey, Jordan, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that works. All right, so give me a second. I'm trying to maneuver because since I have two browsers up, I'm trying to not get confused. So, um, okay, so now I'm about to see if I can get somebody to look at the channel.
You got the YouTube channel stream?
Yeah, it's up now. I had to do it the last second. I had forgotten.
Okay.
I'm trying to see who I can pull. I was in the midst of doing the blast because I finally got the links to work. So I was just starting to post the show, and I have it saved in Twitter. I can delete this stuff for now. I'll pull it back up later. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. I can just delete that. I'll delete that. Give me a second. I saw the Braves one.
Yeah, I saw that too. Rosario hit his first home run.
Yeah, needed that.
Ozuna 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts.
Telling you, man, I just don't. He's not even hitting. I think. Well, the other day he was hitting 074. So if he got three more,
it was 060. It was 065 at one point.
So
and it bumped up. I think he had a hit or two in one game. Now I think it's back down to like it might be 080 something now.
It's out of control, man. I don't know. You can't keep putting them out there. I just don't see how you do it anymore.
Yeah, it's one thing if he was hitting the ball hard or something, but 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, dude. You're not even making contact.
And that's why I said I don't care how much money he's making. He could not afford to have a bad start, no matter what. You know, and here it is.
At some point they just have to eat the money on that one and be like, yeah, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
But one thing to be paying him, and he's costing your team. I mean, when you could have somebody else in there more productive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who it is. Now you can put, heck, get Chipper in there. At this point,
Yeah, he's not a good defensive player.
That's what I was going to say too.
What is he going to give you?
He don't play.
Use him as a pinch runner.
Yeah, he don't play defense well enough to exit the fact that he don't hit. He ain't like he's Rafael Belliard or anybody like that,
Right, exactly.
Shoot, what's Julio Franco doing? I bet he could hit more.
He probably would though, for real. Even though he's probably about 60 now.
Mm-hmm. For him as a DH, he won't have to field. All he got to do is hit. I bet he would love that. Telling you. Shoot. All right, I'm trying to find. Let me see if I can get Let's see if Chauncey. Let's see what Chauncey is doing. Well, he don't look like he's active on Facebook. I'm trying to pull somebody who's online that I can see. Oh, here we go. Okay, I was doing it wrong. Hold up. Now I can see everybody. Okay, so let's try Marcus. Let's see what he's doing. Marcus has been pretty cool. So now I'm in the other browser. I'm gonna see if this will work. Share, copy. Oh, I think I got it to work. Good. Marcus, how are you? Do me a favor and watch my test and see if you can hear Jordan. All right, let's see if he acknowledges. And I'm gonna go into the stream and see if I see somebody pull up. So if someone pulls up, I'm gonna say let's talk football or something, okay?
Right. Okay.
John Harris hit me up yesterday morning, early in the morning. And then DeAndre was up and he said he couldn't hear John. So we're gonna we're gonna see if this will work and we get lucky somehow. Because if this doesn't work, again, I don't know what else I can do.
Yeah, because it was just fine before, though. That's what I don't understand. That's the part I don't understand. What has actually changed?
Yeah. All right, talk some football, Jordan.
All right.
What do you think about the trade of the cornerback from Detroit?
I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, former first-round draft pick. Obviously, he hadn't lived up to his full draft billing. Otherwise, he wouldn't been traded for a fifth-round draft pick. But to trade a fifth-round draft pick for a guy who has first-round talent, I like that all day. You know, if our secondary coaches and our defensive coaches can coach him up, he might be a great addition to the team. One of the things I do know he's great at, Jeffrey, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Udo?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I have to look at the pronunciation on that. But one of the things he's really good at is run defense from the cornerback position. He's a guy who, Jeffrey Okudah. One of the things he's really good at is run defense. He's a guy who was not afraid to come up and hit guys from the cornerback position. And we know AJ is not afraid to hit people either. So hopefully that will help make our run defense a strength. But yeah, I absolutely like it a lot.
Yeah.
I like it even better the fact that I heard that Detroit covered $1.5 million of his salary this season, making him even cheaper for the Falcons this year. They get a look at him before they have to worry about picking up his fifth-year option. Actually, they may have to pick it up this year before they see him play, but good thing about that fifth-year option is non-guaranteed. So if it doesn't work out, you can just cut him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't count anything against your cap in terms of a cap hit. So, yeah, I like that move a lot, sir. I think what it does is it means you're not forced to take a corner in the first round. And it's setting the Falcons up to the point to where they can really take the best available player. I'll caveat to that, best available player at a position of need.
Okay. Yeah.
With the 8th pick, because I'm really not a person that's just strictly best player, because the best player may be a running back. In fact, a lot of the Falcons fans seem to want us to take the running back. Jordan out of Texas.
I'm trying to talk him out of it.
I'm just not with that.
I'm trying to talk him out of it.
With it, Chris.
They're wanting to be flashy and you know, and they're like, oh well, you know, Tyler's all right and everything, but you gotta go ahead and get the blah 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 blah. But I'm like, but did you see what Tyler actually did? Did you know that he led college football in broken tackles? Did you see what he could do one-on-one, things of that nature? And that was just his first year. And I know what they're saying and everything, but I'm like, nothing is guaranteed. And one thing you do have is a running back that did prove himself already, right? In back of an offensive line that on the run scheme part proved themselves already, and they're not going to do anything but get better by coaching. And then we have all the talent, between our tight ends and things of that nature. So even more holes are going to get opened up. So I just think at the end of the day, our problem was stopping people. At a certain point, Terry's plan this whole time has been, when I get the money and the ability to do it, I'm going to lace this team down with defense like they ain't ever seen before. And that's what he's doing. And like you said, this is setting us up to be able to have all the flexibility and leverage in the world to get the best line person that you can get in the between the top 8 picks of the draft, whether it be another great tackle and or an actual edge rusher, one way or the other. It just has to be defense. And in the second round as well, I think it should be defense. You can get a running back in the third round if you got to get a running back for the sake of getting it or whatever. There's none of the running back. Nobody else is putting that Robinson kid in the first round. No, none of the other mock drafts have him at high. So why in the world would the Falcons take their 8th pick and do that? Like that wouldn't make any sense at all.
I think he's going to the first round, but I don't think he's going to the top 10. Unless Philadelphia, I think if they're at 10, I can see them maybe having the luxury of making a pick like that. Being that they had guys like Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean basically coming off the bench last year. Now, both of those guys are likely to move to the start of the lineup from this upcoming year. But their team, I can see maybe taking them top 10. But I think you're going the first round. But yeah, 8 is probably too high. But my thing is, like you said, it's different if we just have nothing at the running back position. We do have Tyler Algier, who rushed for over 1,000 yards as a rookie. Like you mentioned, he led the NCAA in broken tackles his last year in college, and that showed to translate to the NFL. And we still have Cordero Patterson as well. So yeah. I just don't see. I mean, you don't take a guy in the top 10 to split carries. Okay, if you're going to take a running back in the top 10, he got to be your guy. You know what I mean? You got to be a guy getting 75, 80% of the touches at the running back position. And I don't see why you would do that to Tyler Algier, to drop his touches to 20%, 25%. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't make sense to go running back right there. I agree. Defensive line makes the most sense, especially since we have a corner now. That's not to say we couldn't use more talent at the cornerback position, maybe, but I think, if Jalen Carter's there, you just got to pull the trigger. People could talk about character issues and troubles, but that's why you have a Grady Jarrett on your roster. That's why you bring in a guy like Calais Campbell to mentor a guy like Jalen Carter. So I think if he's there, that's who you take.
I think that's why you got Campbell, just for that reason as well. You know what I'm saying? I think I think the plan is great. How they're setting it up. Hey, hold on a second. I'm gonna test these sounds out real quick because I've never used any of these in this new browser, so I just want to make sure that they're working. And by the way, Jordan, Marcus did say he could hear you talking about football picks. So when I end this, I'm gonna back play it and see if I can hear it as well. And if I can, I think this will work, and we can have our dual recordings again. But I'm just going through some of these real quick.
Boom, baby!
I forgot about that one. Let's see what is this. What's that? There's Dominique.
It's a dagger in their heart. There goes Dominique.
What else is on here? Oh, here we go.
For the love of God, he just shot a 3.
I gotta make sure we get a sound of tomorrow for sure from Steve again. Here's a favorite. It looks like everything is working, and I think Torian just came in. What's the question? Okay, he don't know it's a test. So Torian, this is actually a test. We're just trying to make sure that volume and everything works because we got Bob Rathman and Steve Holman on the show tomorrow, and I wanted to make sure that I could have the podcast version available to put on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and everything. So this is actually not a show, unless Jordan, you want Torian to call in real quick? It looks like he got a question.
I mean, if he want to call in, he's welcome to. I
got a little bit of
time.
time.
Just to get back to what we were talking about, man. You know, I think that's the way you go. If by some chance Jalen Carter is not there, I think you probably still want to go maybe edge rush in that situation. Maybe Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech if he's there. If not, I mean, maybe you take a chance on Nolan Smith right there. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously he was injured for a good part of last year, but you know, with his talent level, his intangibles, the fact that he was the #1 recruit coming out of high school, we know Georgia rotates a lot of guys in, so guys could have a tendency to put up better production in the NFL. Like I said, now the one thing we talked about on Twitter the other day, I mean, it is a possibility they could go offensive line with that pick. I wouldn't be particularly mad with that as long as that guy is the right guy. Because I just said trench play is still important. Obviously, I don't think you take a guy that high to play him at left guard full time. But if you had a guy like that that started at left guard his rookie year and then maybe kicks out the tackle to replace, you know, Jake Matthews, you know, in a year or two, then, you know, that will work for me as well.
I don't know. Unless that person's going to be like the best offensive lineman that the Falcons have ever had in life type of a deal, I still think you stave off that and find some real good gems in the later rounds or whatever, which are where most linemen end up, you know, being found, obviously. And I think because of what Terry is doing, even though he kind of messed up last year with that, you know, not getting the right Georgia player, but I don't know. That's what worries me as far as that part goes, you know. I just rather than just stop people. If we can stop people, everything else will you know, kind of pan out. So I don't want to see what's happened in the last couple of years happen anymore. You know what I'm saying? Us not being able to make tackles. You know, we're gonna get ran, you know, 400 yards a game and then thrown on anymore. I'd rather have us have, you know, giving up 10 points a game, running the ball, Ridder controlling, not making no mistakes, and, you know, London and the rest of the guys, Pitts and everybody doing what they gotta do, you know, on a regular basis. Because if you can win Super Bowls like that, ask the Dallas Cowboys with Troy Aikman, and I think Ridder is better than Troy Aikman. So, you know, I feel we can fit those other needs in later on, or even signing some more, you know, free agents or whatever, or even in the future, maybe next year's draft, concentrate on that to replace Matthews or some other people or whatever. But coming into this year, I think they got continuity. We got a lot of training with, you know, between your coaches and everything. I want us to get as many defensive players as we can to continue to make sure that if somebody gets hurt, we're good. Because once you have injuries, AJ goes down or Grady goes down or something like that, whole season shouldn't be precedent on something like that happening anymore.
It just depends for me on what player is around right there. Like I said, if Jalen Carter's there, to me that's a no-brainer. But if he's not there, and then you're faced with a situation of Nolan Smith or the top offensive lineman in the draft, I mean, you got a dilemma there because I like Nolan Smith, but I mean, I got to keep it real. He is a risk, being that he didn't have huge production, being that he was hurt last year. And so if you feel more comfortable taking whoever you feel is the best offensive lineman in the draft, and the guy that has positional versatility, I don't have a problem with it. You know, like, I know it's not the sexy pick. I know it's, you know, it doesn't excite people. But ultimately, when you draft a good offensive line, you know, it's a key to winning. It's a key to be able to run the ball. It's a key to keep your quarterback upright and help your young quarterback out. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. Like
Do you move up? Well, hold on.
Lineman and Jalen Carter was on the board, I'd be mad. But if he's not on the board, I won't be mad.
Let me bring in Torian real quick because I think he has an answer or a question. Hey, Torian, what's going on, man?
What's up, Chris, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah, I just jumped in when you when he was talking about Carter. You know, I didn't know that this was a test, so I assumed that y'all were talking about who we picked for the 8th pick. I'm really leaning for Tyree Wilson, man, because I mean, it just makes sense, especially since they brought in Calais Campbell. You know, you got him to teach him right off the bat. You know, everything that, you know, the thing that I'm hearing most people say is like he doesn't have a lot of moves, pass rush moves. You got Calais right there to teach him everything you know and pass it on to him before he retired. You know, same way we had with Freeney and what's his name? Big, even though soon as Freeney left, Freeney left. Vic Beasley's pass rush left with Freeney. Right. But that year he came in, you know, was huge, but it didn't seem he retained the information or the knowledge, you know, because he didn't really do anything after that. But yeah, man, I've really been high on Wilson, man. I mean, you got 2, 6, 7, 6, 8 bodies like on the ends, like or anywhere on the line. Like that's gonna be a problem for a lot of teams. You know, they're gonna set the edge, and then we got the rest of the big bodies in the middle to help stop the run. I think we're gonna be a top team as far as run defense. You know, it's we got a lot of bodies. You know, Goldman came back, Akimata. You know, we might we might pick up another one in the draft somewhere. So, but I like what they've been doing overall in this offseason, both with defenses, and that's what we've been needing help. You know, I think Bates gonna be. You know, I'm interested to see what Okuda's gonna do. You know, coming out the injuries, and you know he ain't really been that good since he's been back. Because, you know, his whole half his time he been in the league down there, he's been injured. So, but yeah, man, I agree, man. Yeah, I agree with you on a lot of what you said. Now, I'm not gonna take Wilson if Carter is there because I just feel like if Carter didn't have character questions, he would be almost a lot to be the first non-quarterback to come off the board. Either him or Will Anderson, in my opinion. And the thing about Carter, he can collapse the pocket from the edge and from the inside. He's more of a 3-4 defensive end, 4-3 defensive tackle. But I just feel like he's too talented to pass on if he's there. Now, if he's not there and Tyree Wilson is, I have no problem with that being the pick. Now, the only concern I do have about him is will he be able to beat himself against the quarterback off the edge? Like, I think maybe if he doesn't, he'll be a guy you can kick inside on passes down, and he will be able to get there from the inside. Yeah, I guess with some of those bigger defensive ends, I worry about if they have the flexibility to turn that corner. You know what I mean? And that's where you look at a guy like Nolan Smith, he's definitely got that part. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, man. You got a lot of interesting options. I do think, you know, defensive line is probably the best spot we could go to being picking right there. But like I was telling Chris, I mean, if somehow Wilson is gone and Carter's gone, and they don't feel comfortable with Nolan, then I wouldn't be mad if they went off the line. Like I said, I know a lot of people don't like that. No, it's not sexy. I know he don't have no stats for offensive linemen, but ultimately, if you got a good 5 up front, you're going to be good. I know, Chris, I know you said you could find offensive linemen in the later rounds, and some teams do, but we hadn't seemed to have had any look over the years finding offensive linemen in the later rounds. In fact, the 3 best offensive linemen on our team are all first-round draft picks. Caleb McGarry, late first-round pick. Chris Lindstrom, mid-first-round pick. And Jake Matthews, high first-round pick. So, you know, if we come down to the 4th or 5th edge rusher versus the number 1 offensive lineman in the draft, I could see them going offensive line. But my only thing is, if you pick an offensive lineman in the top 10, I need him to pan out. I need him to be a perennial Pro Bowler, All Pro type of dude within a, 2 or 3 years, and going forward after that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it really gets to be a disappointing pick when you pick a lineman and they bust out up that high.
Right. What about that? I'm just glad these guys panned out, like you said, McGarry and Lindstrom. But
yeah, I was a little worried about McGarry there for a while, but he got it together this year.
You still never know, but it seems like he turned the corner. He definitely putting in their work, to get better. So
right. One thing about it, he's a ferocious run blocker, no doubt. You know what I mean? He's always kind of been that. It was the pass blocking that was kind of suspect, but he played much better last year. I'm hoping that he build on it. It always makes you pause a little bit when your guy has a breakout year and a contract year like that. It's like, hope the Joker don't get that money and go back to playing like how he played before that. But yeah, hopefully he keeps it up. And you're right. It's just a good thing those guys panned out the way they did. I do agree with you. I do think we'll have one of the better run defenses in the NFL with Calais Campbell, with the Grady Jarrett, with Onyemata, with Goldman, which I had forgotten all about him coming back out of retirement. Like they're pretty loaded up front in the position. But you know what? That's fine. They can keep loading up there as far as I'm concerned in the edge and in the interior because it's been such a weakness for us over the years. So you keep stacking up in them two positions until that weakness turns into a strength, in my opinion.
I totally agree. The last threat we had as pass rusher was Abraham, and that's how long ago?
Man,
it's almost 2 decades now.
Outside of that one season with Vic Beasley, our pass rush has been non-existent, and it's just.
And everybody knows it too.
Everybody knows it. I mean, even though that we haven't been always as bad as far as with run defense, but we lost some games because we couldn't stop the run.
Right.
And so pass rush, run defense, it's just been a huge lack and huge need.
Well, Dean P said it best last year, or was it the year before last? He's tired of hearing it. The team has been at the bottom of the league for almost 2 decades. You can't make that up. And so it's like, so who's at fault? Who's the failure of that? And it's a matter of when you don't got the personnel, well, who's in charge of the personnel? Beyond the coaching part, you got to have that. But at the same time, you do got to have some coaching. You got to have some plans. And Dean Pease at least put something together, with what he had. And at least you saw some improvement somewhere in there. But at the end of the day, you do still have to have the bodies. And for whatever reason, Thomas Dimitroff didn't think that was important. So thus, we never stopped anybody. So no matter how many times we got down and got the lead touchdown, our defense was going to give it up every single time. And that's why you can't win more than 7 games a season. And that ain't cool. We can't let that happen another year, right? So Terry had, 3-year plan. Here it is, year 3. And he's completely reconstituted the team from what it was. We have depth. We have some great pieces all the way around, skill-wise, and depth. And we got some young pieces that we'll find out if they can grow. I think we have a winning team, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things that's alarming, man, is somebody put the graphic up in one of the football publications on Twitter, and it was the sacks of the last 3 years, and we are by far the last in sacks over the last 3 years combined. I mean, it's like at least 10 difference between number 32 and number 31, and we got to change that because, you can look pretty, you can score a lot of points, you can run the ball out somebody's throat. Ultimately, if you can't affect the other team's quarterback, it's going to be hard to win, particularly when you're playing these good quarterbacks. We all saw the times that Tom Brady lost in Super Bowls and whatnot. It was because the other team had a ferocious pass rush. Just like when the Giants beat them twice, just like when the Eagles beat them. Even the last championship Brady won with Tampa, it was because Tampa was in Mahomes' face in that particular Super Bowl all night long. So I don't care how the game changes, that's still going to always be an important part of football.
Brady won the Super Bowl 13-3. No touchdowns and an interception. Right. Can't get around that one, right? So you can't tell me defense don't win championships, because how did they win that one, right? So at a certain point, you got to be able to have that ability. Even with Mahomes, his team got stops when it needed to, right? So we have to be able to get what everybody else has had for 50 years to start winning on a regular basis. And I think finally we have a semblance of it. Now they still got to prove it on the field, of course. You know, plays got to be drawn up, players have to execute and perform, but at least we have better players now overall, and they can feel it. Like, they knew they should have won a division last year. They knew they should have won a division last year. All of them would say that to you. So, you know, at the end of the day, you had somebody who was throwing 140 yards a game. That's just what's going to cut it, right? So this year is going to be completely different just all the way around. And the rest of the league knows it too. I mean, there's players who want to come to Atlanta. Like, it's a vibe that, you know, we don't get a lot, but you have players trying to get other players to come here. That's a big deal. People want to be here. They want to win here. They want to see if they can help the Falcons win a Super Bowl. That's pretty cool. And I think the city needs to embrace it. And the ones who don't, they can be New Orleans Saints fans for all I care. I don't care. But they need to get the heck out of here. You know?
Yeah, that was big for players to say, you know, you feel like we got something good going on here, you know? I mean, for a player of his caliber, you know, like you said, people actually want to play here now. You know, I remember seeing that Instagram post about, you know, Jesse Bates being here, having dinner, you know, possibly being signed by the Falcons. You know, I didn't really pay it too much attention, but it ended up coming around. So, hey, man, like, I'm excited. I'm really waiting to see what Ridder's gonna do with the full season. Because one, I feel like they brought him in way too late. I don't know what.
I agree.
Well, if you've heard any of my shows, Tori, you already know I said that he should have been in there like after Game 5. Like what are we even waiting for? At the end of the day, those 5 extra games that he played was nonsense, and it cost us the division basically because Ridder went 2-2. Really what if Ridder had 8 games to play?
I don't know what game number that was when Mariota tried to throw the ball from off his back and just threw it up.
That was it. Y'all better be lucky I wasn't living in Atlanta, because I would have came down from the rafters like Sting, WCW style, and that would have been the end. As far as that would have been it.
Hey, that was the nail in the coffin. That was the final nail in the coffin. They stayed with him after that fifth.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Yeah, another guy I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring is Caden Ellis, who we brought in from New Orleans. I think he had about 7 sacks last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He's a guy who can kind of put his hand in the dirt and rush the passer, or he can play stand-up linebacker. But yeah, 7, 8 tackles and 7 sacks and just 11 starts. I'm thinking that, you know, he's a guy who could also provide some pass rush. Arnold Ebiketie, our second-round pick from last year, showed some flashes last year. Maybe he'll be able to turn it up a notch and get to the passer as well. So we got more talent at that spot. I think we just need to continue to add talent in the spot. I'm interested to see what Ridder does. I think he's capable of at least, you know, managing the offense and helping us move the chains. But I'm like, I just don't know enough, man, because they waited too long to put him in there.
He deserves as much a chance as all the other quarterbacks that have gotten their chances over the years. It'd be different if he was like one of the worst college football players of all time, but that's not true. He's the 3rd winningest quarterback of all time, and he can make the throws. You know, so he deserves a chance to fail as much as Marcus Mariota has failed his whole career up till now for his 8 seasons of proving he's not a starting quarterback. Why, Ridder deserves to have a whole season under him. If he fails, he fails, but I just don't see that it will. And Arthur Smith won't let him do it. And Ridder doesn't want to either. Ridder has something to prove as much as anybody. He's going to have Pitts the whole season next year. Anybody really thinks he's going to overthrow Pitts like Marcus Mariota did? All those open passes?
Underthrow, wide left, wide right.
He couldn't get the ball to Pitts to save his life.
It was embarrassing at a certain. It was almost as if he's getting paid not to throw it to him. It was that embarrassing. It was blatant almost. So I just don't think we're going to see that. Ridder didn't throw any interceptions in his 4 games either. He turned the ball over like Marcus Mariota liked to do.
And Drake's numbers went up each game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a shame. By the time we finally changed quarterback, Pitts was already hurt. But London definitely benefited. So if he can find chemistry with both of those guys, I think we'll have something going.
I really feel like he's going to. He's that type. You can listen when he talks. You can tell like he's the type. As a matter of fact, I think I was listening to one 92.9. I think they said he already with some of the receivers working out somewhere.
I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure
I truly feel like he's going to be ahead of the game as far as getting, reps in with the guys, especially with him. I mean, I see him like a Matt Ryan type, like the studio of the game, like he's their leader. He's going to get the guys out there. We're going to get together. We're going to make these, get this camaraderie together, get this timing down,
Right.
And yeah, like, especially with the run game, I think we'll pick up a running back in the draft too. Somebody that's not as well known, but I'm looking for this offense, man, to be moving the ball.
Now, are we going to get now? Jordan has been mentioning having that speedster on as far as a wide receiver. I don't know who's still out there who could maybe be that person or fill that role. Is that going to be still a free agent thing, or are they going to target the draft to get the fastest guy possible within a certain round?
I mean, one thing they did pick up a few wide receivers. They picked up Scotty Miller out of Tampa, who has speed in the slot. They picked up the gentleman, what's his name, Hollis from the Raiders, who's not a speed guy, but he's more of a size, more of another big receiver. But a guy who could step in, let's say if a London goes down, you don't have to downgrade in size out there. And he can play with those guys. Another pickup I like, a lot of people don't talk about it, is picking up that tight end, Jonnu Smith, coming up from the Patriots. He played for Coach Arthur Smith in Tennessee. And so he can catch the ball and run routes from the tight end position. Obviously, he's not explosive like Pitts. I mean, nobody is really with the exception of Kelsey and my guy Brock Bowers in Georgia. So I like that pickup because I think it allows you to play a lot more 2 tight end sets with 2 wide receivers out there and run it that way. And when you can play like that, especially when you have a guy like Pitts that can line up, outside or in line, you can kind of you can kind of run no huddle and shift from power sets to spread sets without changing the personnel. You know what I mean? And so teams don't really know how to play you. If you want to keep an extra linebacker on the field, then you got to worry about putting the linebacker on Kyle Pitts somehow. But if you want to put a bunch of corners on the field, we can just run the football. So, they can really make it a picture poison type of thing if they run this thing correctly with these 2 tight end sets.
Hey, quick side note, is 110 to 108 Pelicans over OKC so far with about 3 minutes left.
Yes, sir. Got it on the team now.
Yeah, they got a good game going on.
I wonder, since you asked me that question about the linebacker, maybe I had been wondering, you don't think we're gonna bring back Evans? Like, They just waiting to see how the market plays
Hey,
out.
whatchamacallit, Tampa, the dude from Tampa just asked for a trade. That might be the opening.
Ooh.
White.
Let me see if I can find him
I
real
think it
quick.
was White that has to be traded.
Devin White, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He wants out.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work. What type of pick they looking for? He's probably looking for a lot of money. I don't know how that would work, but
Terry might be able to do a double A from the Braves and be like, look, you're gonna take $7 a week for the next 7,000 weeks and be happy. Come help us with a Super Bowl. We'll make sure you get some good commercials with Home Depot or something, you know.
The Pelicans are up by 2 now. OKC with 59 seconds to go.
Herb Jones.
I don't know. It's interesting. I think Evans, obviously he's a solid piece right there. It's gonna be interesting. We'll see if he comes back. I'm surprised nobody has signed a guy like Yannick Ngakoue yet, the pass rusher. A guy who's consistently around 8 sacks a year. There's still a few guys out there.
Yeah, it couldn't be. I don't think it'd be a money thing with him. I saw his name out there too still. So unless he's just kind of chilling, I guess. But you would think it'd be a team out there really trying to push to get them on their team.
You would think so. I think you're probably gonna see movement with those type of guys after the draft. The teams kind of see what they're able to get, not able to get in the draft, and they'll start turning to those free agents that are left to fill those spots where they couldn't land the guy they really wanted to land on their board at particular positions. So we definitely should be much improved, though, man. Like I said, one aspect of that run defense is the fact that the corners are all going to be able to tackle, because you have AJ, who we know will hit somebody. Okuda is a good run defender, and as is the other nickel corner, we have James or something his name, or I can't remember the kid now. What's the nickel corner we signed? Does anybody know?
I'm looking.
Yeah, no. Drawing a blank.
I have it in a second.
Mike Hughes.
That's his name. Mike Hughes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good run defender as well. He'll come up and hit you also. But the fact is, they'll have 3 corners that'll come up and hit you.
See, if I was 92.9 a game, I would just made up a name like Hughes Mike. But I actually looked it up, and anyway.
Yeah, Mike Hughes. Well, we know 929 the game doesn't do that research. They've turned into another National Enquirer radio station. They just want to talk about whatever's controversial. They want to keep pushing narratives about Trae Young, about this trade foolishness, when the whole article the dude put out from the Ringer was a hack job. You know what I mean? The fact is, all you had to do is read the article. And the article told you what his source was. His source was a different article from March the 3rd, and which Russell basically just said he was leaving all basketball decisions up to his basketball guys. And so they said, well, that includes Trae Young. If they want to trade Trae Young, you said we didn't hear you say Trae Young was untouchable. And he said, look, what I'm telling you is I don't determine that. My basketball people determine that. And that's all that was said. They took it and turned it into this thing, but like I said, look, no, I was good to see that report yesterday where they said that the Hawks people called Trae Young right after that came out and let him know there was no truth to that.
Yeah.
And don't even worry about it.
It's just sad that folks doubled down on it, though. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, even after that, even on the TNT broadcast, when the reporter got on the microphone and said that, you still had people saying otherwise. Even today, over on 929, the other guy basically said it again. He repeated it. I was just like, and we beat Miami. We're the 7th seed, and you still won't let it go. And you wonder why people hate 92.9. You see what I'm saying? It's like, we don't even have, Atlanta don't have a local sports station, but they're the flagship to 3 of the franchises in town. You know what I'm saying? It's 3 of the 4 major franchises. You gotta listen to 92.9 The Game. And it doesn't make no sense how they hate all of them. They didn't want Atlanta United. They really could. I don't even want to get into it because I'm gonna just have a get my blood pressure up again. I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah. It's quite irresponsible. Oh, man. Okay, see, they went up 3 now with 12 seconds to go.
Josh Giddey.
Yeah. 31 points.
He's about to have a triple-double out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Young players, man.
Remember, too, they got like the #1 draft pick for the next 30 years, too. So.
Well, the number 2 pick last year's draft. Right.
They got
the number 2 pick.
Yep.
Right. He ain't even played this year. They still got a good season. So.
You talk about how you build a team.
So they might mess around and have another Durant, Westbrook, and Harden situation.
It's possible. They're gonna have to figure. I think they'll figure it out, though. I think this time around, I think there'll be a little bit better judgment in regards to retaining and convincing them all to, finish it out. You know what I'm saying? Like a Golden State. You know what I'm saying? And I believe with what they've done with how the ownership and everything works out and money, because one, they don't not sell out none of their games, right? They're always full. So it ain't money. So I think they can pull that off. And if they start winning,
fans are passionate. You got to give them credit for that. Their fans are passionate.
Yeah. So if they really do start winning, yeah, I don't think they'll want to leave. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to want to prove that they can win in OKC. The other guys, KD and it was I don't know, not as much.
Harden was the first one. Harden didn't like the fact he was coming off the bench. He wanted to go and get his own team. Obviously, he's a very talented guy, but that was the first issue. I mean, the real what they really should have done back then would have been to convince Harden. Basically, would have been to talk Harden into staying and got rid of Westbrook earlier. Is what they really should have did.
Yeah.
Because I think Westbrook was a big reason why Durant left too, eventually. But Durant hung in there for quite a while. Eventually, he just like, I can't work with this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, then they also had Serge Ibaka back there, a young Serge too. So yeah, they drafted a lot of good talent, man.
Yep.
Gonna be interesting to see it, man. Oh yeah, step 117, 114, 12 seconds. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what these playoffs look like. Because to me, there ain't no real deal major favorite, especially not in the West. I think a lot of people discount Milwaukee, but you do got to look at the fact that their #1 seed already got a championship. So, I mean, I do think they're the favorites in the East. But in the West, man, I mean, a lot of people don't believe in Denver, even though they're the #1 seed. I know I don't. They got to show me. Now, they ain't going to be easy to put out because they shoot the 3-ball so well, along with Jokic and what he does. But still, they got to show me they can do something, even the playoffs. It's crazy is the fact that Phoenix and the Clippers are playing a first-round series, and one of them got to go home off the bat. Because both of those teams are very good. Phoenix is dangerous, man. It's like they can put everything together and click. They're dangerous. Because I'm telling you, Kevin Durant, man, is as automatic as they come as far as a jump shooter in this league. Always has been. I mean, right. I mean, he went over to Golden State, a team that already had a championship. But he was instantly. I love Steph, but we got to keep it real. The best player on that team was Kevin Durant for 2 years. You know what I mean?
You couldn't stop him.
Right. So,
yeah, anybody in the West could technically get to that point. I mean, it's more wide open for sure than in the East. I mean, you see that per the records. That's pretty obvious there. So it's just a matter of who can get hot and who can make enough stops, because all those teams can make shots. We know that for sure. So it's going to be fun. And, how
it's
they
a very dangerous team, sir. Having Durant and Booker on the same team like that, both of them guys get hot.
It's hard. You can't double team both of them.
Right. Then, I mean, Aiden can be some timing, but he can step up and have a game too. And then that allows Chris Paul to where you ain't really dependent on him as much to carry you. You know what I mean? He can just come out and try to make the right play, knock down shots when they ain't paying no attention to him. They're dangerous, man. They're dangerous. There's no doubt about that. But the Clippers got a good team too, so that's a pretty good series to be starting off with. A lot of people picking the Lakers and whatnot. I am not buying.
Who's picking the Lakers? Who's drinking the Hennessy?
I've heard
in the
people
world?
saying now that they think the Lakers gonna go all the way to the conference finals and this and that. I ain't buying the Lakers.
Okay.
They too up and down. They too sometime. You know what I mean? AD plays good sometimes. Sometimes he plays timid. You know what I mean? And outside of LeBron, the rest of them guys ain't never really, showed that they could do nothing in big situations. Dennis Schroeder, we know he does what he does coming off the bench, but he ain't a guy you really trust in pressure situations. So yeah, I'm not buying them yet. You know what I mean? I don't even think they're gonna get past the Grizzlies, to be honest with you.
I'm pretty sure they won't, but you never know. But I don't think this year they can do it. So I think they're drinking that Lance Stevenson cocktail, talking about the Lakers going to the finals. I'm just trying to say. I'm just trying to tell you. Uh-oh, looks like OKC is going to pull this out, y'all.
Yeah, look like it.
What y'all think about what Zion said about that playing till he right mentally pretty much?
So say it again?
Man, I don't know what to make of Zion, man. He's a great player, man. I mean, so talented, but you can't help the clear from the tub, sir. You know what I mean? And this guy's always injured. I think it's a situation where he really needs to maybe work on losing more weight or something to try to prolong his career, because he's just too big and too powerful. Like, feet and legs aren't meant to hold that kind of force and weight and power combined in one package. It's kind of like the smaller version of what Yao Ming was. Yao Ming was so big. I mean, hey, legs like a freaking tree trunk, calves like tree trunk.
I don't know though, man. The only argument with that is you got Shaq out there. You know what I'm saying? And Shaq played for a long time, being the biggest guy on the court and dominating for a long time.
Yeah, but Shaq played through a lot of foot injuries too, though. You know what I mean?
Zion needs to play through his foot injuries or something, because at a certain point, how much money has he made not playing basketball?
Shaq was able to avoid like breaking the foot. He just had plantar fasciitis, so his feet was always hurt. But when you start breaking the feet, like Augustus did early in his career, he came back from it though. Ended up being a solid role player. But he was like a 2-time All-Star early in his career, but before he started breaking those feet. And then Yao Ming started breaking his. Hands had major injuries to his.
Well, I don't know if all of that can be attributed to their size as much as maybe, I don't know, just them physically who they are as a human being or whatever. I just think that
the size and force.
I don't know,
because he's so violent. He plays a violent style, and he's not just scoring in the inside. He's driving and cutting and doing all kind of stuff, man. I mean, you saw how he went through a shoe in college. You know what I mean? Like, they had to even do something to his shoes to hold all that force and size in one package. He's a unique dude, man. You know what I mean? But as far as him saying he's not gonna come back till he feel like Zion mentally, I mean, I guess I get it in a way, because if he keep coming back early and then favoring the other leg, then all you do is injure the other freaking leg. You know what I mean? So I guess I get it, as long as it don't turn into a Ben Simmons situation where he's sitting out whole season and that kind of foolishness. You know what I mean?
He's been kind of doing that though.
I mean, yeah, but maybe he might be better served sitting the rest of this one out until, you know what I mean? It look like they're about to go home anyway, so I guess it ain't gonna matter. Yeah, they done. They just got beat 123 to 118, so they done now anyway.
We're done now.
So I mean, he should be ready to go to start next season.
Maybe they should trade. Maybe the Nets should trade Ben to New Orleans, and New Orleans trades Zion to Brooklyn Nets. There you go. That'll
Heck no.
solve that one.
No, thank you. I don't want that dude to leave that dude out west, man. He all right. Cause shit, I don't want him getting healthy and coming to Brooklyn. And nah, that's all right. Besides, I wouldn't give a team two jock straps and a bag of basketballs with Ben Simmons right now. Especially not the money he made. No, thank you. You know, Zion at least. I think he's way more mentally tough than Ben Simmons is. That dude's a mental midget, man. You know, and I hate to say that. Some people might say that's insensitive because he say he's dealing with mental health issues, but I mean, at a certain point, you know, you just got the youth and you can't get past it.
I think he should just go ahead and retire. I don't think he can do it. Like at this point, I think he's proven he can't handle it. You know, so
yeah.
Well, guys,
Hawks did it to him.
I'm going to. It looks like everything works. I think, but I'm gonna listen to this after. So, Torian, thanks for calling in, man, and checking out. At any time, be sure tomorrow. Listen to the shows tomorrow with Bob and Steve for sure. Okay.
Oh yeah, I got my notifications.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all another time.
All right now.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
As this was a test, I didn't end it as I usually would, but it's a test. But I'm going to keep this because we had some good conversations. I always want to make sure that people can hear. So I'm going to end this now. And again, later on today, Steve Holman, Bob Rathman, voice of the Hawk, face of the Hawks broadcast teams will be on around the ATL. So tune in at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock today. Very excited. So, of course, if you're watching this, you can follow along. Talk to y'all later.